We're back. A lot to respond to. I'm with the roundtable. I want to begin with Congressman Dave Camp, Republican from Michigan and chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, who's leading the investigation into the IRS on Capitol Hill. Congressman, welcome.
Good morning.
You heard Dan Pfeiffer, senior advisor to the president, who reacted to your talk of a culture of cover-ups. You heard Senator McConnell talk about a culture of intimidation. Your response to what he said this morning?
Well, it is tough stuff. But Americans were targeted for their political beliefs. And it went on for years. The other thing is, officials at Treasury knew about this a year ago. Officials at the IRS knew about it 2 years ago. Congress has been trying to get answers for 2 years, and we were stonewalled. So, yeah, there is...
Stonewalled by the IRS, it appears.
Well, yes, we don't know where this goes. And frankly, this was an audit, this so-called investigation. Yeah. We still need to have the investigation. There's a lot we don't know.
Congress requested the IG investigation, which you got.
Right.
You were aware of that. You initiated it and even got some preliminary results about it that Darrell Issa referred to.
No, we weren't aware of it. And this is an audit, not an investigation. The investigation, as we learned at the hearing, is going to come forward soon. But the question is, why, after repeated hearings and letters to the agency, when high-ranking officials in the agency knew about it, why did they not come forward? Because Americans were targeted for their political views, what books they read, what the contents of their prayers were. Did they know anyone running for political office? I mean, I don't care what your political stripe, but they only targeted conservative political beliefs.
Which
so it is
people have stipulated is simply outrageous on both sides, including the president. I guess my question is, as people really try to figure out what government can and should do in these circumstances, what would you have had the president do? What would you have had even the Secretary of Treasury do? As you well know, there are hundreds of audits that are done every year. And imagine the scandal if the president had tried to intervene, even fire someone before the results of such an audit had been completed. You'd agree, wouldn't you, that you'd be pretty mad if he'd done that?
Well, there's one thing to meddle in the affairs, but there's another thing to know about it. And the question is not only what people knew, but what should they have known? This is
all right, so if the president knew more earlier, what would have come of that?
Well, hopefully it would have been stopped sooner. It went on for 18 months.
Right, but it was being investigated. I guess you're saying before even an audit was happening, you would have wanted to know what happened.
2 years ago, the director of the Exempt Organizations Division knew of this, and did anyone up the chain know about it? We don't know that yet, and that's why we have a lot of questions to still answer. We don't know who started this. We don't know why it was allowed to continue for so long. And as one of the newspapers reported, a person from that Cincinnati office said, we don't do anything without direction here.
All right. Do you have a credible reason to accuse the president of knowing about this targeting?
We don't have anything to say that the president knew about this. In fact, he says he learned about it on television. That may be the case. But we need to know who started this and why it was allowed to continue for so long.
Before I widen this up, I want to, both using the IRS, unfortunately, for political reasons goes back many administrations, Republican and Democrat. And we came across something when it came to, resolving some of the ambiguity in the tax code from the New York Times. Look at this headline. This goes back from October of 1927. Seek to simplify income tax law is a joint committee of Congress hopes to make the phraseology of the act clearer. Does this political targeting give some new impetus to resolving ambiguity in our tax code, from income taxes to the issue of who should be tax exempt?
I think in a general sense, I think a lot of people feel the tax code is broken. It's not fair. It's inefficient. It's so complex. The average family should be able to fill out their own tax forms and file them. They can't now. It takes the average American 13 hours to comply with the code, 6 billion hours in terms of compliance. So I think we need a fairer, flatter, more efficient tax code. The Ways and Means Committee has held more than 20 hearings on this. We're working with our Senate counterparts, Chairman Baucus. Together we've had more than 50. We've had the first hearings together in 70 years. Look, and I think a more efficient and flatter, fair tax code would help the economy and help people get the work they need, and also maybe get higher wages if they're already working.
Let me go